Hey guys, really quick before we get into this video, I want to make sure that I give a big shout out to our channel sponsors, flipaquatics.com. They're the ones bringing us this video. They've done a lot to support this channel, so we don't want to fail to thank them. They are the #1 online source for freshwater aquarium shrimp, as well as they carry freshwater aquarium plants. They've got nano fish, and they're just an excellent company. They have super high quality. They quarantine all their livestock for 30 days before you buy, and they're friends of mine. So go show them some support. Go check out flipaquatics.com. If you order anything, tell them Carlos sent you. And again, they're just an awesome company. They have high quality. They're the #1 source for online freshwater shrimp, and they're a big supporter of our channel, so we want to say a big thank you to them. But for now, let's get into this video. What's going on, fish nerds, and welcome back. Last time I showed you how I built my 3-tier 20-gallon rack. Today I'm going to be building a 75-gallon rack, and I'm going to do it different. One, I'm not going to go 3 high because with a 75-gallon I don't have room to go that high up. I'd be basically up against the rafters. So I'm only going 2 high, and the construction is going to be a little bit different as well. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I build a 75-gallon fish tank rack DIY style, stick around and I'll show you how we're going to do this. Alright, so I've already cut up all the wood. I've got 10 pieces that are 15 3/4 inches long. I've got 4 pieces that are 18 3/4 inches long. I've got 4 53-inch posts. These are going to be the corner posts that support the stand. I've got 6 of these 48 3/4 inch long boards, 4 here, 2 here. And that's all the wood we're going to need. But we've got our drill, we've got our 2.5-inch star drive decking screws. So this is what we're going to be using to fasten this all together with. And we've got a bunch of C-clamps. That is so that I can kind of mount the boards in place, fasten them in place, get everything level before I actually drive in the screws. So that's going to come in handy. So those are the materials I'm working with. Oh, I've also got a carpenter square, and of course when you're cutting the boards you're going to need you a tape measure. So nice, all the scrap wood I've got over here. But that's all the materials we're going to be working with. Let's get started putting this thing together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I just kind of laid these here. They're not fastened or anything, but we've got 2 15 3/4 inch boards and 1 48 3/4 inch boards. This guy here, this little box, is going to be the base to support the stand. I'm not going to have a tank on the floor. I'm going to go about 15 inches up for the first tank, so that way it's not all the way down on the floor. But we are going to have this guy here just for support, make sure everything stays together nice and sturdy. I'm not going to put support beams in here since this is going to be on the bottom. It's not going to have a tank sitting on it or anything like that. This is basically for the support beams, the legs, just basically to hold them all together at the bottom is what this is for. And I'm going to use my carpenter square there to make sure this is all squared up and get this all screwed together. And then from there I'll also build 2 more of these, but the 2 that hold the tanks are going to have support beams here. Now the reason for the lengths that we're using, the 75 that I'm building this for is about 18.5 inches front to back, 48.5 inches side to side. So I'm doing 48 3/4 and 18 3/4 just to give myself an extra 1/4 inch to play with. And this being 1.5 inch, that being 1.5 inch, this being 15 3/4 gives me an extra 3, so it's 18 3/4, just like those. And then for the 2 of these that are actually going to support tanks, I'm going to mount those underneath for extra support. But you'll see that when I put it all together, and I'll show you as we get to that point. But for now, I'm going to mount this all up, get it all screwed together, and we'll move on to our next step. Alright guys, so we got the boxes built. We got this box here on the bottom. This doesn't have any supports running this way just because it doesn't need them. It's just going to keep the bottom of the legs from going in or out or front to back, because I'm going to mount them to the four corners of this. So this is just support for the bottom of the legs. These two are going to actually hold tanks, so they do have some support braces in there just for a little bit of extra support. Now these things, the 2x4s that I got aren't perfectly straight, so you'll see got a little bit of this going on. That's why the cinder blocks, because you'll notice if I stand on this, they're not so out of warp or so out of line that a little bit of weight doesn't just flatten them totally out against the porch. So I put the cinder blocks on there, so now this one's totally flat up against the smooth porch. Everything's level, everything's squared just the way it needs to be. So now I can take these 2x4s for the main beams, the legs, get them on the four corners, and then once I have those on the four corners, I can take this, put it up on the top, use the clamps to make sure this one's nice and level and square, holding it up against the legs. So with the top totally square and level, the bottom totally square and level, and those two being screwed to the main beams, everything should hold everything else in place, and we should be good to go. All right, so now all I need to do, or well, not all I need to do, but what I need to do next is, now that this is all level, I'm going to mount the four legs to the corners of this thing, and I'll have to use a level. I'm going to use the clamps and a level. I'll use the clamps to actually mount the legs on, use a level to make sure that the legs are straight up and down, then I will screw them in each one at a time, and once I know that they're all totally level, then I can put this top shelf on there. You want some lovin's? It's a good kitty. Alright, so the base is all screwed in, that's all nice and tight. Just got this held on by these clamps and trying to get it all nice and level. And I'm not gonna lie, it's annoying trying to use these clamps and move this thing around, because as soon as you move one end, it moves the other. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna screw this corner in, make sure this corner can't move, and then I'm gonna get everything else leveled from there, screw one corner at a time, getting everything leveled out, rather than try to do it with just these clamps. But the clamps holding it in place, I'll get this guy screwed in, and we'll go around the corners with the level, making sure that everything stays level as we go. Alright, got this all screwed in up top, threw a couple more cinder blocks up there just for a little more weight to make sure that this all stays where I want it. And now we've got the bottom shelf clamped on. We don't have it screwed yet. I don't even have it leveled or anything like that. You can see it's, you know, sticking out past the edge over here, that kind of stuff. So I need to get that situated, and I've got that, the bottom of this 15 inches from the floor. Reason for that is 15 inches is about a ½ inch taller than a 15-gallon bucket. So I can actually store my 15-gallon buckets down here, because I'll be able to get them. I'll have to put them in sideways, but once I get them in there, they'll be able to stand up. They'll actually be shorter than this, but I'll actually have this area here for the tilting up process, because the bottom of the tank's going to be all the way up here. So I got 3.5 inches there. So I should be able to get at least 3, maybe 4 15-gallon buckets down here to keep those out of my way. And then my tank's not going to be straight down on the floor. It's actually going to be high enough that if I'm sitting in a low chair, I'll actually have a really nice view of the tank itself. And then this guy here is going to be just high enough to be perfect for viewing while I'm standing up. Alright, now it looks like a tank stand. So we got this all leveled in, all screwed into place and everything, just going one corner at a time. I put one screw in that corner, made sure this was level, put a screw over there, made sure this was level, put a screw there, made sure this was level, put a screw there, and then going around it, everything's still level, so we're good to go. Now I'm going to take one each of these 18 3/4 inch pieces that are the same length as this is wide, whereas this guy fits in between these two. This guy spans all the way across. Underneath each side of these shelves, one here, one here, one there, going across. I'm going to screw one of these guys in just for a little bit of extra support. This will, as it is, will probably hold it, but I'm not confident. With this, I'm going to be entirely confident that it can hold it, because right now we've got 4 screws on each corner holding up 75 gallons, which is however many hundreds of pounds that is. I'm not going to do the math in my head right now, but plus the weight of the tank. Putting that on there, now we've got 8 screws on each corner holding that up. So a lot sturdier, a lot stronger, and better to go a little bit overkill than try to get away with the bare minimum when you're dealing with, in this case, 150 gallons of water. A lot of water, a lot of glass, a lot of fish. Not playing games with it. So building this thing sturdy. All right, so there she is, all assembled, nice and sturdy, nice and well done. Everything's screwed in, everything's put together. There is one last step. Look at this crazy cat. You're goofy. There is one last thing that I'm going to do to this thing. I am going to put on a coat of black spray paint, exterior spray paint, simply because with having tanks on this thing, there's a possibility for spills or for overflowed tanks, and the exterior spray paint is going to give it a little bit of extra protection to make sure we don't get any wood rotting or anything like that because of any spills or overflows or anything like that. So that's the last thing that I want to deal with, is wood rotting out because of an overflowed tank, and then the tank ended up collapsing because the wood went bad, that kind of a thing. So we're going to put a coat of exterior spray paint on there, and besides, it's going to make it look nice in the fish room to have this all nice and black instead of looking like I just built it in wood shop class. So very sturdy tank. I think it's going to work out just fine. And if you guys have any questions about this rack, throw those in the comments below. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you, fish nerds, and I'll see you next time. What? What? You're weird.